When you're in a situation or relationship that's causing intense emotional pain, karma is probably involved. But karma is not a punishment. Karma is the completion of a very specific lesson our soul chose to learn. What's the lesson? To step out of the energy cycle we're in, to move the energy so we can find a new level of success. Want to know how? Stay tuned.
Well, hi there and welcome. My name is Rami, like Do Re Mi. I'm a best-selling author and creator of the Get Unstuck Revolution. I help extraordinary women with big-ass dreams just like you who want to get unstuck from a life that doesn't work and get to where you know you need to be, into a life that's filled with passions and purpose. Now let's get started with today's episode.
Okay, let me jump off the screen here and transition over to my laptop. Today, we're looking at karma. What is karma? Well, some people view it as destiny or fate. Some people think of karmic retribution like some kind of a punishment. But I think of it as an opportunity to shift some energy around. When we're faced with karma, we're faced with a life lesson. And that lesson is to step out of the energy cycle we're in and create something different, something more successful than what we've been experiencing. If you aren't getting the success you want in full abundance, however you identify with success, and if you're wanting to tap into a greater knowingness and align with higher frequencies so that you can attract the success you're craving, then this episode is for you. Maybe it's time to open up to your hidden power and create something unimaginable, something totally unreasonable, something that maybe even seems impossible to kick your whole life and all your success into high gear for whatever success means for you. Today, I'm going to try and get you one step closer. As business owners, change makers, thought leaders, innovators, disruptors, or even if we haven't found the right fit in the world yet, whether we're talking about our relationships at home or at work, or when we're talking about our finances, sometimes we find that we're moving away from success. So how do we overcome this? How can we find the clarity and courage we need so that we can unlock our hidden power? Well, it's time to be unabashedly, unapologetically, happily untethered to the ego thinking that can sabotage our success. It's time to tap into our soul connection instead so we can broadcast our hidden power from the hilltops and advance our soul's agenda. This episode is for you if you wonder what specific lesson your soul came to this earth school to learn. What's the resolution that your soul is looking for? Why there's an agitator in your life when really you'd just like a peaceful existence. Yes, these episodes are about how to find your hidden power when you want to transform challenges into successes. I like to call it the audacity of alchemy. Because when you're feeling stuck, it's never the situation that has you stuck. It's your energy that's become stuck in doubts, worries, frustration, indecision, and often this is because of a spiritual injury that you've experienced, some kind of hidden trauma that's interrupting your soul's work. So it isn't the pain of your situation. It's the pain of not being connected in the natural energy of who you really are, of being connected to that magical part of you that's a creative vibrational being who can use positive energies to create what you want and bring it into physical manifestation. Part of this process is to allow your manifestations to materialize and not get stuck in the negative vibrations that block them. These positive energies that we talk about so much here are where you find the magic of alchemy. And using your hidden power means using these positive energies to effect transformation. Because if you're like me, then you're someone who has the audacity, the willingness to take bold risks and transform challenges into success. So let's talk about this idea of transformation and the audacity of alchemy, because your choice of frequency can change the course of your journey. When you're in a situation or a relationship that's causing intense emotional pain, karma is probably involved. But karma is not punishment. Karma is the completion of an unambiguous lesson our soul chose to learn. Karma is the completion of an unambiguous lesson our soul chose to learn. Now, I've always found this interesting because as a Sagittarius, I don't like ambiguities. I don't like mysteries. I don't like the unknown. I don't like knowing there's a lesson I'm supposed to learn when I can't even see what the lesson is or how I'm supposed to solve it or how I'm supposed to get beyond it and into success. You may sometimes feel this way too because a lot of you have told me I feel like I'm wearing blacked out glasses and I don't know which direction to take or how to move forward. So karma is often the completion of an unambiguous lesson our soul chose to learn. When we have these patterns and we haven't learned how to heal them, that's how we can end up with this intense emotional pain. This is something we have to deal with when we're going through an ascension, when we're ascending from old thoughts and beliefs and we're rising into a higher frequency. A lot of people tell me they feel like they're crazy, like they're losing their minds. So this suffering happens because we haven't yet learned to heal the pattern. And the pattern I'm speaking of is our thought patterns. Our thoughts create emotions, and this is where our intense emotional pain comes from. We're being tasked with stepping out of the energy cycle we're in and shifting to a spiritual perspective. We're being asked to see our situation from a higher perspective, one that's based in love and compassion and knowing that there's a much bigger picture than what we're able to see. Because when we're talking about karma, we're often talking about contracts between two or more people and a lot that's hidden from us that's going on behind the scenes or beneath the surface. The soul wants resolution, and that's the turmoil we're feeling, not because the soul wants resolution, but because we're fighting the resolution with old, outdated thought patterns. The soul wants a shift in perspective from the energy cycle of condemnation and judgment and toxic feelings within this karmic situation into compassion. I'll give you an example. There was a gal at one of my workshops, and she told me of a guy she had dated. He wasn't good for her. He was abrasive and unkind, yet he also had a gregarious side, the sort of guy everyone gravitates to at a party. She felt a magnetic pull to be in a relationship with him, which, by the way, is often a sign of karmic relationships. She didn't know why, but she was just drawn to him. Now, early in their relationship, he confided in her that when he was 7 years old, he witnessed his father killing his mother in a drunken rage. And she saw the pain on his face as he told her about it. And it was a pain she had seen on his face many times, and so it made her feel a little closer to him, especially since she was naturally empathetic. But then he would sometimes go into these abusive rages. He never hurt her physically, but he would egg her on and tell her to stand up for herself, and this seemed to be a pattern he had in all his relationships, that he wanted his woman to stand up for themselves the way his mom couldn't stand up to his dad. It was his pattern. Well, they continued to date for well over 4 years, and it was tumultuous the entire time, but she just couldn't seem to leave. And this is another sign of a karmic relationship. We sometimes get so tied up in knots and so deeply ingrained in it that it seems impossible to see clearly what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to find resolution. How do we do that? Well, we're going to talk about that next, because our choice of frequency can change the course of our journey. Our choice of frequency, including how we handle these karmic situations, can literally cause obstacles to disappear, especially when these obstacles simply are no longer a vibrational match for us. So I just wanted to give you a quick reminder. If you already know that you're ready to dissolve life's obstacles that are on your path to success, if you already know that you're ready to do your soul's work and be a creator, then you might be ready for this amazing new tool to get you moving into some better patterns and frequencies where success can find its way to you. It's called the Alchemy Matrix, and it's going to help you create your destiny. It's an interactive roadmap designed to help you solve problems, dissolve barriers, heal spiritual injuries, and bring in a lot of clarity so you can create a future that you'd like to see. Just wanted to give you a brief reminder that you can sign up to learn more about the Alchemy Matrix at successcircleworkshops.com, and I promise to tell you more about this in a minute. But let's get back to these karmic situations. We sometimes get so tied up in knots and so deeply ingrained in them that it seems impossible to see clearly what we're supposed to do. But we are supposed to find resolution. The soul wants resolution, a shift in perspective. The soul wants resolution, and that's the turmoil that we're feeling. Not because of the soul's desire for resolution, but because we're fighting the resolution with old, outdated thought patterns. We're too deeply ingrained in ego thinking. The soul wants a shift in perspective from condemnation and judgment and toxic feelings into compassion. The pain we're feeling isn't the pain of the situation. It's our refusal and denial of the spiritual growth at hand. The soul wants us to see the situation from a higher perspective and then step out of the energy cycle. It really is just about that simple. So simple, in fact, that we often can't see it. But we talk about this energy shift every single week on this podcast, and that's a shift into positive energies like compassion, empathy, and grace. So, the soul wants resolution. Your partner in this karmic situation is simply the agitator, bringing up the thoughts and emotions within you that your soul wants to transform. Your soul came here to ascend to a higher perspective and a higher frequency. That's what resolves the karma. This is why we're on Earth. Now, the other side of the coin is what you're bringing to them. Another way to end this suffering is to realize that you've given a gift for them. So with love and acceptance and gratitude, hold the space for who they're becoming and how they're evolving. You've heard me talk about this before, that one of our greatest spiritual attributes we can have is to hold reverence for the other person and their journey, to honor who they are and where they are on their journey. When you hold reverence for them without resentments, it helps them to break their own patterns. Gratitude, you'll remember from last week, is creating without resistance, or we could also say that gratitude is creating without resentments. So always be looking for something within this karmic situation to be grateful for. I know it can be a challenge sometimes. But with this new spiritual perspective, you're letting go of the suffering and all the negative ego thinking that resonates at the lowest vibration on Earth. It takes an incredible depth of compassion, both for ourselves and for our karmic partner. But once we come to this place of understanding the bigger picture, with that understanding also comes compassion. This compassion is the path to divine love. And divine love is the path to awakening and ascension. This is in large part why we came here to the Earth School. Stepping out of the old cycle of pain and suffering and choosing instead love and compassion are what completes the karmic lesson. I'll say that again. Stepping out of the old cycle of pain and suffering and choosing instead love and compassion, this is what completes the karmic lesson. It's not about the situation or the relationship. This is about your ascension and raising your frequency to a higher perspective, but it's not the situation itself. So, karmic situations, boy, they can burn us, and that's an understatement. They can be devastating. They're life-changing, which is good, because we want to change our life. And the other good news is that these karmic situations aren't meant to last. The situation isn't meant to go on, and the relationship isn't meant to go on, just until you shift the energy. That's all you're being asked to do, is to change the energy. These karmic partners come into our life to teach us valuable lessons that we weren't able to learn in a past situation or even in a past life. Even back then, in that other situation before this one, we had the opportunity to change the pattern, but we didn't. We held on to ego thinking for dear life and just continued the pattern. We might have patterns of abandonment or patterns of separation. We might have patterns of fighting for how things should be. The pattern really could be anything. And my point is, the pattern itself doesn't matter. What matters is the shift in energy. We're being asked to step out of the energy cycle of pain and frustration and anger and confusion and direct our energies toward a positive shift. We're being asked to break the cycle so that we can grow spiritually. And sometimes this means breaking the relationship up or leaving the job, unfortunately. But sometimes we can stay in a situation and still shift it. You've heard me say it before. Can you change the energy? Always. Are you strong enough? That's the question. But one way or the other, we're being asked to end the cycle. That's the first step toward repatterning the karma. This will not only make our upcoming life situations better because we're breaking the old patterns, but this will also produce a positive impact on our whole life and our business if this message can be completely captured. Karmic situations don't let us have peace until they are completely resolved. The best thing we can do is to be open to a new spiritual perspective. So, what happened with the woman from the workshop? Well, she told me that she could one day see that in a past life she had stabbed her partner to death on a staircase. So in this life she felt this compelling need to make things right with him. And that's why she was drawn to him and drawn to stay with him. But he wasn't willing to learn and grow. It was a toxic relationship, and it tortured her for years because she couldn't shift the energy within herself. She felt like she was always behind the 8 ball. And so it eventually fizzled out, and she went on to date others. But unfortunately, her pattern continued for 20 or more years in and out of toxic relationships. And now she's taking the time to repattern her thoughts so that she can create situations and relationships that can bring her a little more joy. And this is my wish for you. So what can you do if you find yourself in a karmic situation or a karmic relationship and you want to shift the energy and work toward a positive outcome? Well, compassion is key for ending the cycle. In a karmic relationship, more often than not, the other person won't be able to see that there's a problem, and they often won't be willing to work to change it. Cold, hard fact. So just change your energy to compassion. Lift your thought patterns to a higher frequency to restore balance for what you've been through. Find a couple of mantras to help you repattern your thoughts, and I'll give you a couple of inspiration cards to get you started. Here's the first one. My heart is filling and overflowing with compassion and joy for this spiritual journey. Here's another one. I love the amazing joy that my spiritual perspective brings. And here's another one. I'm allowing universal light and joy to flow through me. And I'm inviting elation and joy and happiness to expand in my life. This simple practice will help us to heal from within. Raising our vibration to joy and compassion will help us to evolve spiritually. It will free us from this karmic debt and heal our every wound so that we can move into new success filled with joy and happiness. It'll help us to move forward. It gets us out of the chitter-chatter of ego thinking and into higher frequency thought patterns. It helps us repattern our entire life. Along with forgiveness, some energy work is also required to close the karmic bond completely. Cut the cords so that you can break all ties between you and that person. When you cut the cords and still hold compassion, you break free from this karmic relationship for eternity. You can finally move forward. Remember that karmic relationships teach us those painful lessons. If we'll stay open to the pain and not deny that it's happening, we can open up to the lesson that we're being asked to shift the energy. Now that's karmic relationship, and I don't want to forget the idea of soul relationships because these are different. A soul relationship helps us to find our self-worth. Soul relationships help us expand who we are at our core. In a soul relationship we feel good. Even if there are problems, we know things will work out. But today, we've been talking about those karmic relationships and those karmic situations that we know at our core things aren't right. We don't want to miss the opportunity to grow spiritually by raising our vibration. So I have an exercise for you. I'd like you to think back to the worst situation or the worst relationship you've ever had. Maybe it's recent. Maybe you have to go back a little bit further. But think of a worst situation, something that was causing intense emotional pain, because that's the one where karma was involved. It could have been with a friend, a lover, a boss, maybe even a family member or a friend of your spouse that made you crazy. Think back, and when you identify the situation that caused you intense emotional pain, then write down a short paragraph, just 3 or 4 sentences about what happened, just a little short story. And then, after you've done that, take a moment to close your eyes and identify the intense emotional pain. What was it? Was it frustration? Indecision? Betrayal? Was it depression? Confusion? What was that intense emotion? And then next, using one of the mantras that we talked about before, and I'll even go so far as to call these incantations because we are going to create a little magic here. I want you to imagine yourself back in that situation. If you had used these incantations on a very regular basis to shift the energy, maybe every minute, maybe every hour, maybe morning and night, maybe just once a day, whatever it might take, if you had used these incantations on a very regular and consistent basis to shift the energy, would the cycle have ended sooner and healthier? Can you see how raising your own energy causes the other more negative energy to fall away because it isn't a vibrational match? Imagine if you take just one of these inspiration cards and repeated it 10 times or 100 times in the morning when you wake up or before you go to bed. Can you see how raising your energy this way would cause the other more negative energy to fall away because it's just no longer a vibrational match? And this is what our soul wants, a shift in perspective, a shift in energy. It's what we came here to learn. It's why we're here in the Earth School, to overcome the ego thinking that keeps us stuck so we can move forward and move on into a higher frequency of compassion and wisdom and grace, because that's that very natural energy for us. We're being asked to step out of the energy cycle of this karmic frustration that we've been in and into a higher perspective so that we can shift into a flow for success. So that's your exercise for today as we create a flow of positive possibilities to fulfill your soul's work and the resolution that your soul is seeking. And so we can begin to create that flow for your success. So this is your invitation to step it up a notch and do something unimaginable, something maybe even unreasonable, something that may seem right now impossible, but just remember, to the universe, nothing is impossible, not even changing the energy. All that's required from you is a shift in frequency, because your choice of frequency can change the course of your journey. And this includes your thoughts and beliefs around karmic situations. So I hope this helps you as you're using the powers of alchemy to transform challenges and obstacles into positive new successes. But if you still can't get your head around what's got you stuck, you can tell me about it. You can leave a question here, or if you're someone who has the audacity, the willingness to take bold risks to transform your challenges into success, you can find out more about our events at successcircleworkshops.com. This is where you can learn more about the audacity of alchemy and how to unlock your hidden power. Here's what you'll get: a personalized, interactive roadmap that's custom designed to get you unstuck by unlocking your hidden power to create big, magical changes. You know, alchemy. You'll learn to solve problems, dissolve barriers, and bring success to you. So don't wait. Go to successcircleworkshops.com and get your personalized alchemy matrix package right now. Here's what you'll get: a full-color workbook filled with hands-on exercises to inspire your creative energies. You'll also get membership in your very own success circle for high-level masterminding and networking. You'll get your very own customized alchemy matrix to unlock your hidden power and bring success to you, and your very own personal Unstuckologist. Remember, the Alchemy Matrix is the only tool of its kind, and it's only available here. So if you're ready to approach your life's challenges with audacity, if you're ready to finally banish frustration, indecision, and a negative spiral, if you're ready to watch success materialize right before your eyes, then don't settle for another minute of ordinary. Go to successcircleworkshops.com and get your personalized Alchemy Matrix package now and watch the magic start to happen. Thank you for joining me today, and I'm wishing you a life filled with all the alchemy you need to bring success to you. Feel free to share this video with anyone you know who's feeling stuck, and I look forward to seeing you in one of our upcoming success circles. You can find out more at successcircleworkshops.com.